Over 100 majestic ocean wanderers are on the brink of redefining the boundaries of our planet's blue frontier, compelled to leave once familiar homelands by new dangers unfolding in every corner of the sea. That startling revelation, coming from scientists at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, sets the stage for what might be one of the most pivotal chapters in conservation history. What is truly going on beneath the waves? And why are these shifts so critical for the future of marine life, and even for humanity? Today we are diving into an extraordinary tale of scientific collaboration, unforeseen threats, and daring solutions that promise to change the way we protect our seas forever. In this comprehensive look at the transformation rolling through the world's oceans, we will explore the surprising catalysts forcing whales, sharks, and other marine megafauna to find new homes. We will also examine the ways international coalitions, spanning more than 400 scientists from 50 countries, are stepping up with an ambitious plan to guide new conservation policies. Finally, we will see how the United Nations High Seas Treaty, aiming to expand marine protected areas beyond the existing 8% coverage, could be the tipping point in safeguarding critical wildlife habitats. Buckle up, because in this narrative, hurricane force revelations come one after another. We will learn how fishing, shipping, rising ocean temperatures, and plastic pollution converge into a perfect storm of dangers facing our planet's largest sea creatures, and why a network known as MegaMove has begun forging an unparalleled alliance to meet these challenges. Imagine cruising along the high seas and suddenly discovering that your favorite coastal waters have heated by an extra few degrees, effectively pushing the fish you usually hunt into deeper or cooler regions. For a graceful predator like the hammerhead shark or a massive blue whale that has depended on stable feeding grounds for centuries, the sudden disruption can become an existential threat. Indeed, these animals have roamed the oceans for millennia, adapting to slow and predictable changes in temperature or salinity. But in recent decades, human intervention has sped up the pace of change to an alarming degree. Now we have an unfolding drama in which marine megafauna, an ensemble of whales, sharks, turtles, seals, and more, are forced to confront once rare disturbances nearly every day. The question is, how can scientists pinpoint the best possible areas to protect when the ocean is in such a dynamic flux? Enter MegaMove, an unprecedented global research initiative endorsed by the United Nations that stitches together scientific expertise from over 50 countries, drawing nearly 400 experts into an unstoppable force for marine conservation. Their mission is anything but simple. They gather data from cutting-edge electronic tagging programs, extensive drone-based observations, and on-the-ground experiences from local fishing communities to build a precise map of which ocean realms are most critical for survival. Through lethal hunting, incidental bycatch, shipping traffic, and plastic waste, humanity's thumbprint on the aquatic environment is far from benign. Yet, thanks to innovations in data science and geopositioning technologies, MegaMove's new approach attempts something extraordinary, anticipating not only where marine megafauna are today, but also where they are likely heading tomorrow. Cameron Braun, assistant scientist and ocean ecologist at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, has played a pivotal role in assembling and analyzing the enormous data sets flowing in from every corner of the globe. Cameron's work reveals a sobering situation. Changes in ocean temperature and chemistry, combined with local disruptions like shipping lanes and overfishing, are prompting animals to shift their age-old migratory routes. These moves are not mere speculation. They have already begun, prompting a reshuffling of the oceanic deck that is breathtaking in scale. Imagine entire pods of dolphins rerouting themselves dozens of miles off course, or shark populations appearing in waters where they have rarely been seen. And these changes are not isolated to a single region. All across the Pacific, small island nations are bearing witness to strange sightings of species that historically have stayed far away. In the Atlantic, time-honored feeding grounds are lying idle as fish stocks dwindle or relocate. What emerges from this swirling mosaic of data is that critical habitats are not necessarily static. Where a migratory corridor once connected a species to its breeding ground, a shift in currents or a new shipping route can disrupt that chain. Meanwhile, climate shift is warming ocean layers in ways that cascade through food webs. Zooplankton communities drift elsewhere, small fish follow, and large predators soon come looking for them. If that shift takes place in unprotected waters teeming with industrial fishing fleets, the species may face an even bigger risk. Conversely, if a newly favored corridor is already an established marine protected area, the species gains a refuge just when it needs one most. So, the question that hovers in the air is, how do we craft conservation policies flexible enough to accommodate these changes? It is precisely this question that led to the forging of MegaMove as a consortium. Led by scientists like Cameron Braun and Simon Thorold from WHOI, as well as experts from other renowned institutions, the group has devoted countless hours to analyzing multidimensional data sets. They map how certain whale populations move in relation to rising sea surface temperatures, or how shipping intensity lines up with known shark nursery areas. They also factor in the prevalence of plastic debris, including microplastics that can wreak havoc on marine ecosystems. Gradually, the project has built a data-driven blueprint to guide the planning of future marine protected areas. According to the United Nations High Seas Treaty, the hope is to increase the current coverage from 8% of the world's oceans to 30%, a bold commitment that could mark a new era in ocean stewardship. Simon Thorold, a senior scientist in biology at WHOI, has emphasized that any measure of success depends on an ability to adapt. Conservation and management efforts need to plan for ongoing changes in ocean ecosystems, he says. Indeed, drawing a line on the map that designates a permanently protected area might not work if whales that used to swim there shift their territory by hundreds of miles. For that reason, flexible management strategies informed by robust scientific collaboration are essential. Governments, local communities, non-governmental organizations, and an ever-expanding circle of marine stakeholders must come together to ensure conservation policies can pivot when new data emerges. Here is where it gets particularly fascinating. The study's lead author, Australian National University marine ecologist and associate professor Ana Sequeira, underscores how these shifting habitats overlap substantially with fishing routes, shipping corridors, warming zones, and plastic pollution hotspots. Further complicating matters are industries that rely on oceanic resources, including not just fishing, but also tourism and maritime transport. While fishers must bring in their catch to support communities around the world, large cargo vessels link global supply chains and are not about to vanish. How then do we strike a balance that allows these ocean giants to move safely, unimpeded by the hazards we have created? One revolutionary piece of the puzzle involves mitigating threats beyond setting aside designated sanctuaries. Adaptations to fishing methods, such as using different types of gear or even adjusting the color of lights on nets, can significantly lower the rate of unintended bycatch. Rerouting shipping lanes or imposing speed restrictions in known whale habitats can reduce the risk of vessel strikes. Cleaning up plastic debris, from ghost nets to microplastics, not only helps preserve the health of marine species, but also ensures that we do not inadvertently poison the very base of the food chain. These changes might sound monumental, but they may prove far more achievable than many realize, especially when approached with the coordinated effort that MegaMove champions. The challenge is persuading industries, governments, and the general public that these shifts need to happen sooner rather than later. Now, if you are already feeling the excitement of new discoveries and the gravity of these challenges, it might be a good moment to show your support for this critical mission. If this resonates with you, give a quick thumbs up to let everyone know you are as invested in our oceans as these scientists are, working around the clock to safeguard marine life. Your simple action can spark broader awareness and remind more people that every supportive voice counts. Let us continue our deep dive. Behind every success story of a whale or shark population on the rebound stands a global web of researchers orchestrating those triumphs. The MegaMove project exemplifies this spirit, forging cross-disciplinary bonds among oceanographers, marine biologists, ecologists, data analysts, and environmental activists. At its core is the principle that no single entity, nation, or organization can tackle an issue as vast as shifting marine megafauna habitats alone. Instead, this is the work of a global community, an entity that must gather local knowledge from fishers off the coast of Peru, combine it with satellite data from a research station in Hawaii, and then share it with policymakers in Australia or South Africa who stand on the front lines of legislative change. Through these channels, the project fosters an unprecedented synergy that transcends borders. Imagine a scenario. A group of humpback whales intimately relies on a centuries-old migration route connecting northern feeding grounds to tropical breeding areas. Historically, they swim that migratory path in tune with the seasons. However, with progressive ocean warming, the whales may depart earlier or later, adjusting to changes in prey distribution. Meanwhile, shipping lanes crossing that pathway have grown busier as global trade intensifies. By equipping some of these humpback whales with sophisticated tracking devices, researchers notice that collisions risk rising if they do not respond quickly. Acting on these findings, MegaMove then collaborates with local authorities and shipping companies to propose a seasonal slowdown or slight rerouting of vessels to reduce the risk of whale strikes. The result? A compromise that honors both economic needs and wildlife protection, illustrating the power of data-driven negotiation. But this is just one subplot in a saga that spans the entire globe. Across the Pacific, green sea turtles face a dual threat: plastic ingestion and entanglement in nets. The turtles, once reliant on vast seagrass beds for nourishment, now find themselves strangled by drifting plastic hazards or forced to lay eggs on beaches compromised by rising sea levels. But again, MegaMove can step in, uniting experts who specialize in turtle biology with coastal community members who track nesting sites. The impetus is to reshape fishing regulations, reduce plastic dumping, and even transform local tourism into a conservation asset rather than a liability. Little by little, each success story paves the way for the next coastal region or island nation to replicate similar tactics. Crucial to the success of these strategies will be translating academic findings into actions local communities genuinely embrace. In many fishing-centric provinces, a ban on certain gear types might provoke anxiety among fishers who worry about decreased catches. Communication, transparency, and collaboration are crucial to bridging these gaps. By offering fishers tangible proof, showing them how more sustainable gear could preserve fish stocks for future generations, MegaMove fosters a sense of shared purpose. The involvement of local voices, cultural leaders, and grassroots organizations ensures that conservation does not feel like a top-down edict, but rather a collective endeavor. This approach is reminiscent of many other successful conservation campaigns worldwide, from protecting tigers in India to restoring wetlands in Europe, all of which highlight the importance of public buy-in. Zooming out to the larger scientific context, one of the biggest takeaways from this research is how unpredictably the ocean might change in the next few years or decades. When we talk about ocean acidification, coral bleaching, melting polar ice, and shifting currents, we are essentially describing a living system in flux. Yet many of our traditional marine protected areas were designated based on data that might quickly become outdated if we do not incorporate climate projections. Thus, the conversation around dynamic MPAs has gained traction. These are areas that, while protected, might allow for adjustments or expansions based on real-time monitoring data. If there is a sudden breeding boom or an unusual fish migration, the boundaries could be recalibrated to provide effective safeguarding. In other words, we move beyond the static concept of a park or a reserve in the sea and embrace something akin to a living tapestry of areas that shift in tandem with marine life. For conservationists eager to win support for expansions to these dynamic MPAs, the new UN High Seas Treaty could be a game changer. Under its framework, nations with vested interests in the oceans, whether for fishing, mining, or shipping, could collaborate to ensure better stewardship of shared waters. The ultimate goal is to scale global protected regions from a meager 8% to an ambitious 30%, effectively turning the tide from centuries of ocean exploitation to a new era of mindful guardianship. Still, skeptics ask, is it too late? Are the changes in ocean temperature and biodiversity so advanced that even an expanded network of MPAs and better regulations may be insufficient? While no one has a crystal ball to see exactly how the oceans will look, in say 20 years, the scientists behind MegaMove remain optimistic. They point to nature's resilience. Coral reefs can recover if given the chance, fish populations can rebound under the right regulations, and marine mammals can adapt if shipping lanes and fishing methods evolve to reduce human-wildlife conflicts. What we need, they assert, is a commitment from all stakeholders to stick with these measures over the long term. The oceans have proven time and again that they can rebound from adversity as long as we keep our harmful impacts in check. By now, you might be eager to learn more about how to join this wave of ocean optimism and activism. If the potential for real change excites you, consider subscribing for more updates on how these marine initiatives evolve. With one simple action, you can stay plugged into the unfolding narratives and celebrate every small victory along the way. What truly sets the MegaMove project apart is the synergy between robust data collection methods and forward-thinking policy frameworks. The earlier approach to saving marine life frequently hinged on small-scale interventions, often ignoring the global nature of these magnificent creatures' life cycles. A local ban on fishing might have helped one corner of the ocean, but if that same species had to migrate through an unregulated corridor, the benefits soon washed away. Now, by systematically identifying hotspots over multiple continents, scientists can create a patchwork of safer havens that together form a massive protective net for marine megafauna. Additionally, new technologies promise to scale up this collaborative approach even further. Advances in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and remote sensing can analyze satellite readings that track ocean surface temperatures, chlorophyll levels, indicating plankton abundance, and the density of fishing vessels in near real time. Researchers can overlay these layers onto known migratory routes and travel corridors to forecast which species will pass through which zones at particular times of year and under certain climate conditions. Let us recall that plastic pollution remains a persistent and insidious foe in this picture. Some of the species at the heart of MegaMove's studies, notably large filter-feeding sharks and whales, are especially vulnerable to ingesting plastic. This contamination can cause dire health consequences, resulting in lower reproductive rates and even death. Each year, countless seabirds and marine mammals perish because of plastic debris, a problem that is not confined to one region or country, but transcends borders with ocean currents. Breaking the cycle of plastic reliance, improving waste management, and adopting circular economic principles are integral to improving the ocean's overall health. Without addressing this challenge, even well-protected sanctuaries may carry hidden dangers in the form of microplastic contamination. Far from painting an entirely bleak picture, the combined steps being taken, from rethinking fishing gear to monitoring maritime traffic routes, show that transformation is indeed possible. Indeed, part of MegaMove's success story rests on the creative alliances being forged among industries that historically have been at odds with conservationists. Some shipping companies, for instance, are surprisingly open to small route alterations, provided they receive timely data about where sensitive species congregate. Likewise, fishing operators stand to benefit if they avoid capturing unintended species that reduce the overall sustainability of their operations. Because the success in one location often spurs replication in another, an encouraging domino effect emerges. However, do not be misled into thinking that these accomplishments come easily. Behind every new operational guideline lies a labyrinth of negotiations, budget considerations, and public outreach campaigns. Not only must scientists generate reams of data, but they also must translate that data into actionable guidance that resonates with legislators and the fishing community alike. The next big question is how quickly these measures can be scaled. If we wait too long, the warming trend and plastic onslaught may override our best efforts. Yet, if we take timely steps, we could witness a marine renaissance where iconic species such as humpback whales, tiger sharks, giant manta rays, and green turtles once again thrive in more places across the globe. We also cannot ignore the socio-economic dimension. Many coastal communities rely on fishing for their livelihood. A sudden shift to more stringent regulations can feel threatening if not accompanied by adequate support structures. Some communities might need assistance transitioning to sustainable fisheries, or even alternative livelihoods if fish populations decline before bouncing back. Part of MegaMove's forward-looking stance includes amplifying local perspectives, ensuring that scientists, policymakers, and community advocates can come together to craft solutions that are not only ecologically sound, but also equitable. The next few years will be decisive. We can expect more high-profile summits, new legislative proposals, and an ongoing debate on how best to manage the high seas, a domain that has traditionally been governed by a patchwork of international treaties with limited enforcement mechanisms. The new High Seas Treaty, complemented by the ongoing efforts to reach the 30% protection target, offers a beacon of hope. With technology enabling real-time monitoring of shipping traffic, illegal fishing, and even pollution events, we have an opportunity to act swiftly when marine megafauna in a particular region face sudden peril. Imagine receiving an alert that a major shipping lane and a large pod of migrating blue whales are on a collision course, and then implementing immediate rerouting to prevent disaster. That vision underscores just how critical the combination of data and policy can be. Indeed, it is the synergy among scientists, conservationists, policymakers, industries, and the global public that will define whether these ambitious goals truly manifest. MegaMove has signaled a readiness to unify diverse stakeholders, bridging the gap between theoretical research and on-the-ground, or rather in the water, action. While the scale of oceanic challenges may seem daunting, the wave of innovation driving the initiative is equally formidable. A prime element fueling optimism is that humanity has begun to see the ocean not as an inexhaustible resource, but as a delicate system, essential to regulating our climate, providing food, and hosting a spectacular tapestry of life. So, here we stand, on the precipice of a new chapter. Marine megafauna, from colossal whale sharks to swift pelagic birds, are in the midst of rewriting their own survival guide. With the data-driven insights from this broad scientific collaboration, newfound alliances with industries, and fresh momentum from the global community, the script can change from a tragedy into a riveting rescue tale. As you reflect on all these marvels and challenges, remember that each piece of knowledge, each newly forged policy, and each everyday choice, from reducing plastic use to supporting wildlife-friendly fishing practices, forms the foundation of a more harmonious relationship with our watery planet. No single discovery, no single measure can solve everything alone, but together they set the wheels in motion toward real progress. That is the awe-inspiring paradox of the ocean. It is vast yet vulnerable, immense yet subject to our influence, timeless yet racing against a rapidly ticking clock. The good news is that the legion of ocean advocates is growing. Scientists at WHOI and beyond are showing what happens when we rally around data and common purpose. The next leap is ours to take as a global society, to put wisdom into practice, to keep ourselves informed, and to champion stewardship. The results of MegaMove hint at a horizon where thoughtful planning, bold innovation, and pragmatic collaboration align to give marine megafauna the fighting chance they deserve to reclaim their rightful dominion. And if you have stayed with us until now, let us give you one final parting call to follow your passion for this cause. Whether that means you join local beach cleanups, lobby for stricter plastic waste policies, or help promote dynamic marine protected areas in your area, every effort matters. Go ahead and spread the word so that the next time you or someone you know gazes out at the sea, you do so with renewed hope and determination. The story of the ocean is, in many ways, our own story, and we have the remarkable opportunity to co-author the next chapter.